wherever you are in the world, can you all hear me? I've put a load of stuff out there. Can you hear me? Tell me if you can see and hear me. I'm looking for my fire extinguisher and I'll get it out in a minute. I didn't have a lot of sleep last night, to be honest with you. I kept thinking about that and I didn't sleep. It's funny how things like that can irritate your mind, isn't it? And you just toss and turn all night. It's sad to say that I can't switch the fire on. I'm freezing me fucking bollocks off. It's a little bit cold in here, not majorly though, but I am. Don't worry, I'm quite hardy. I'll put up with it as much as I can. So is everyone out? Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget. So hit the like button. You know what the like button is. Don't forget to share. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to have to push the subscribing. We've got to get this channel to over 10,000. There is a particular reason for it as well. Merry old England, evening all. Let me have a quick look and see who else is out there. Is everyone watching? Did you did you want me to give you a run through of what happened last night with the fire, the electrical fire and the fire catching fire? Well, actually, it was a plug socket that caught fire. Did you get it checked out, DD? No, but I sent the clip to the landlady. I've spoken to 3 different electricians who watched this show, and I'm really grateful for that. And they've said a couple of things. I went, all right. So anyway, I'll wait and see. I'm going to speak to the landlady again. But currently I haven't seen an electrical certificate for this place. So I've just asked for a copy of it, just to put my mind at rest, and see what happens from there. Just to make sure everyone. I mean, not listen. All I'm saying is it is a £40,000 fine to rent a place out and not have one. And they don't, and they do it. And all. When I was working for the housing association, that was like one of the biggest things they had to do. Especially the electrical side, because the electrical side is different. You could have a charger left in somewhere. If there's a fault with that circuit, you can be in bed and it'll go bump. Which was literally why I was. I didn't sleep very well. I don't sleep anyway properly at the moment. Right, I think I've got too much on my mind. But that said, if you want to see the video, do you want to see the clip of it? Tell me if you want to see the clip of it, because every time I watch it, I do laugh. oh, fuck! In the background, right? And then the smoke layering on the ceiling. Right, do you put your show on YouTube? It's on YouTube at the moment. I don't like going on YouTube because they're going to take the channel down. Right, YouTube is still run and operated by the other side. Still got algorithms. It's a bit like using Chat GDP or whatever it is. It's nowhere near. It's nowhere near the class of Rumble, and it's certainly nowhere near really the class of Twitter. Even though Twitter, I do not believe that it's purely for speech, but for the simple reason that they restrict people's reach. They're telling you that they do that. So again, I just want to make sure that people understand that. You and yours, Stafford John, yes. I just want to make sure everyone can see and hear me. So give me a 5B5. Now, a couple of things I'm going to say to you. My rant about Rupert Lowe yesterday. And I was actually talking to someone on the phone today, and I said, I know it sounds strange, but sometimes when I get annoyed, it's more frustration. I know it sounds odd, but I get more annoyed if I like someone. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if someone's doing something and it's just fucking totally stupid, or I think, what the fuck are you doing? It's more annoying to me if I like them. I know but that is true. If it had been Nigel Farage, listen, Bennett Arnold, I rarely went about him because I don't like the geezer. It's obvious who he is and what he is. He's literally you get let down, DD. Yeah, no, and there is an emotion to this. In some ways, right? I'm not, and again, I don't want to be. I'm not saying anything against other people. I'm not. You got to understand that I grew up with my dad running his own business, right? I grew up as an engineer's son, if you like, right? He was always doing things. He'd go around his house now. He's made all sorts of contraptions from his chair that he's will. He pulls that lever and that goes along and that comes up and that switches the light on. People go in there. It's like Mr. Inspector Gadget. He's made all these things. Even his frame that he walks on. He's tied stuff onto it. He's got other bits. He's got clips he puts his sticks on. That's just the way his mind works, right? That's me dad, right? So I just want to make sure you understand this. In my life, I've run at least, I think, 5 businesses, right? 3 of them have been successful, 2 of them not so successful. One of the successfuls, one was really brought down by the government, which was a place called the Volkswagen Caravelle Centre, which I built up into well in excess of £1 million turnover business, right? Within 9 months. I think it was 1.9 million in 9 months. That's turnover. It ain't profit, right? But it was good profit. And I love doing it, right? So, and again, it's one of them things. If you ask people about me and any of my businesses, my mind was completely into that business, right? I mean, hyper focused on that business, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what I do, right? So when I see people like Rupert Lowe, a city boy, right? That ain't a bit of me. That ain't building a business. Going in and nicking a few quid from massive bonuses on stocks and shares, or on the markets, or on the whatever you're doing. That ain't running a business, right? That's using someone else's capital and nick a few quid and you take a big corner out of it, right? But it's a bit of a closed club, right? Public school boys and all that, but they all think they're highly clever. The people I've got respect for are people who started with absolutely nothing, right? And there's a particular fellow, and I can't remember his name, probably this audience will know. The fellow who owned Newcastle United Football Club, the one who came from nothing, then he went out and he sees something and he was very clever and he started buying trademarks. And then he started licensing and using the trademarks and he'd become a multi-billionaire, right? But he walks around with a bag, like a plastic, he ain't got a suit, he ain't got a briefcase. He had an old phone in his thing. He'd just walk around. You would never know he was a billionaire, right? Turn up in an old car and all that. I think he lost his wife in the end. I don't mean lost her as in she died. I think she fucked up with someone else. But he was just highly focused on what he was doing and he made a lot of money. Does anyone know the geezer I'm talking about? There are other people out there. There's many tradesmen that have done that. Started to build a business, got a contract. I know a couple of people who have done that. I know a plumber got divorced. He probably watches the show still. He got a divorce from his wife. He was quite young. I think they had a kid. I won't go into detail. But he caught his wife out in some way. He fucked her off. And for 10 years, right, he worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. He got a particular contract in plumbing that he did it and he did not stop, and he was earning good money, right? There's a story around him as well. He was earning really good money. Instead of, he didn't go out, he didn't drink, didn't do any of them things. All of the money he got coming in from that contract and his hard graft, he then started buying houses, particularly down the Kent coast, right? And then started renting them out. Then all of his houses were paid for. Then he bought another load of houses, carried on the contract, done all this, and then started renting them out. Put all of the money from the first lot of houses and the rents from that, and the money from the contracts, and bought out the next set of houses, right? And in 10 years, he'd completed what he wanted to do, and by the age of 40, he was retired, right? Won't say more. I won't say more than that. He's a right nice fella, though. I love him a bit. He's a funny fucker and all, right? But he's just like me and you. He's got a beautiful house, got a really lovely wife, but he's a normal, everyday working geezer. I respect that, right? What I don't, and what, again, talking about Rupert Lowe, there are things that Rupert Lowe have done that have encouraged me no end. Obviously, what he's doing with the rope inquiry. And he has taken a lead and telling everyone, once this inquiry's over, we've already lined up the barristers for private prosecutions. I'm hoping the Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 134, torture, because there's another element to that if the Attorney General, who shouldn't be allowed to veto it, does veto it, you can take that via universal jurisdiction to America, and the Americans will hear the case, right? And they can subpoena from the USA, them people with that evidence. You just see what happened to Maduro, right? And say, you have been subpoenaed to turn up here and you will come here, right? This is universal jurisdiction. It was ratified by the British government. It was brought into domestic law via the, like I just said, the Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 134, torture. It is quite clear that there are 4 distinct elements. So these are all, right? So if anyone was consenting or acquiescing, really important, or omission, which means you didn't put things in report, you didn't say anything, so you've omitted to say something, that is basically fraud, and therefore it comes under the Torture Act, or an act. So if you've actually done something, Gordon Brown in particular, right, where he wrote a note and told all the police, like, do not arrest these people, they are basically working class prostitutes. Even though they were not of the age of consent, many of them, they couldn't be prostitutes. It is statutory rape. And because of what I've just explained to you, them 4 things, which are all, right, not and, all. So if any one of them can be proven to be positive, that you omitted to put something in a report because you didn't want to be called racist or because someone had told you to, that's acquiescence and omission, right? So you're doubly in trouble if that comes to fruition, right? So getting back to Rupert Lowe, my frustration is when, and I'm going to try and explain this in a way that everyone understands. White people, and particularly white working class men, have been persecuted in this country, I would suggest, for a minimum of 30 years, maybe longer. And it is certainly increased in the last 10 years, massively. If you're over, it used to be over the age of 50. If you're over the age of 40 and a white male and you lose your job, you're going to struggle to get another job, right? Even your skill sets have been undermined by the amount of cheap, unskilled, who pretend to be skilled, foreign labour coming into the country. Many of them people end up on benefits, etc. But what Rupert Lowe was doing, he used the word indolent, right? I think was that the word? Was it indolent? Where he basically is saying that they're lazy, meaning the white working class in this country, on benefits, universal credit, etc., etc., etc. Now, all these middle class people that are saying all that, right? We're literally, you've earned your pound note a different way to the way we earn our money, right? You have systematically destroyed what working men in this country had. And you've only got to look at the black taxi drivers in London and Sadiq Khan, right? They and Boris Johnson, they went all out to destroy the black taxi trade, right? They even lowered the knowledge standard to allow black people, right? And this is straight, you can go and find this out, because they couldn't pass the knowledge test. They couldn't memorise, the square mile and every route and know the route. When you ride every single route, every single path, and you know every single way that you can go there, and you don't need a sat nav, right? Again, going back, I'm trying to think how long ago it would have been. 40 years ago, right? A pal of mine who was obviously 21. He passed his knowledge for central London, right? When all the boys was out on the piss and, building sites on the weekend, fucking having a piss and all that, he worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week in a black taxi, right? In 18 months, he had saved up his he went and bought a semi-detached house in Welling, right? So bear in mind, this is 40 years ago. I don't know how much it would have been, but it was a lot of money. Obviously when you're talking about it, but he bought the house for cash. He literally walked in to a solicitor's and bought the house and said, "There's the cash." And he worked for 18 months. It wasn't unusual for, even going back 20 years ago, for black taxi drivers to earn £100,000 a year, right? That's just a standard. Well, it's not standard. Black taxi drivers are something else, right? But the knowledge, right, and what they do to get it. It's an apprenticeship on its own, right? And it was in some ways protected by our ancient rights. Why am I saying this? Because I am working class, and I'm very proud to be a working class person. And I get very emotional about what they've done to us, right? And whether you be a northerner, southwest, the northeast, wherever you come from in England, and I'm talking about England, right? And I want you to understand something else, right? The Irish, the Scots, the Welsh all come to England for work, right? And then they bitch about England, right? When we assisted them to bring up their own families, and we shared that work with them, right? The bit that we didn't agree to was the mass immigration and what they'd done in particular to white working class people, right? Which is why in this country currently, there are only 3 million, in England and Wales, there are only 3 million white men between the ages of 20 and 30. 3 million total, right? There's more foreigners in this country, yeah, in that age group than there is of the indigenous population, right? What I'm trying to say to people is, I didn't fucking do that. It wasn't my plan, right? That was a plan of people that had the control and the levers of power. That was the people who had the control and the levers of the banking system. to grease the palms, to make it flow, right? Rupert Lowe is not one of them people. I don't believe he is one of them people, but he's only one layer down. But what I'm saying is, when he starts attacking the working class, right, when we are fucking struggling in this country to stay afloat because of what his Rupert mates did, right? When I say Rupert, if you've ever been in the army and you understand what a fucking officer, what we used to call officers, fucking Ruperts, right? The NCOs, non-commissioned officers, right? So sergeants, corporals, sergeant majors and all that, right? They were the ones who run the battle. They was the ones who knew how to fight a fucking war, right? And the captains and the other ranks up there sat back and doing all the, yeah, Charles, boys, right? That's the way they worked it. By the way, it doesn't work like that in Russia. Generals are on the front line. Everyone laughs at Russia and says, look how many generals they've lost. They're fighting men like everyone else, right? That's the difference. And that's why the men respect the generals, and especially the generals who have fought in numbers of war and still keep going at it, right? Why am I saying all this? Because there are good things that Rupert has done. And again, like I say, my rant last night was more that I am upset, right? I am, what's the word I'm looking for? Frustrated that we can't get our own self-made millionaires, right, of real working class stature, right, to step forward and say, I'll tell you what, let's take this country back. Instead, we're relying on these people that do not give a flying fuck about us. Rupert has already said he's got enough money, he quite likes Australia, he wants to fuck off to Australia. He knows fuck all about Australia because in the level that he's at in Australia is different to what everyone else is seeing in Australia. Speak to anyone who knows Australia, normal working people, and they'll say, it's fucking nightmare, it's worse than the UK, right? But Rupert seems to think it's lovely. It is detached from what we are. Now, what's the real point, right? What's the real point? Donald Trump, his family come from humble backgrounds. His uncles and they went in different positions. They started getting a few quid round them. His dad was a builder and grafted. His mum was a lovely lady from Scotland. But the thing I really want you to understand here is that Donald Trump has got respect, the same as my dad had, for anyone who worked in that factory, right? His factory, he worked on the lathe. He was part of the work crew, right? He was the one who had the knowledge in that factory of every job in there. He could do any job in that factory, right, with his hands. Don't forget, originally he couldn't read and write for various reasons. One of the reasons was because he was evacuated during the war and his eardrum blew up, right? So what I'm trying to do is tell you the story about me, right, and the way I see working people. Just because you own a factory doesn't make you one of them. It can make you one of us, where we work together, right? The fact that my dad went home worrying every night, and especially with the Tories and with the Labour Party, when they brought in all sorts of silly VAT rules that nearly shut the factory down 3 times, and he was the one who went home worrying about that. When they went on a 2-day week and a 3-day week, he was the one who worried about paying the men. No one else had to fucking worry about that, right? What I'm trying to say to you is Donald Trump is of that ilk, right? I can see that in him. So when I look at Donald Trump and he puts all these tariffs on and he goes back to the way England was, I'm like, yes! When I can see that he's took down a North American free trade agreement because he understands it's a mirror of the British system, I'm like, yes, right? And then when he goes over to WEF and says, You're all talking bollocks. This is the biggest, this climate thing is the biggest scam ever. You're all basically gangsters. He told them you're all very clever people. You're some of the cleverest people in the world. Well, so are fucking leading gangsters. But here's the kicker. He then turns round to the people of the United States of America and he said, we're doing very well. We have brought in 17 trillion in investment. We are building factories all over the United States of America. We are now re-employing our people. And because that's kicking off, he's then telling people, there are jobs for you. You don't need benefits. You are far better working because you'll earn 10 times the amount, right? 20 times the amount. You'll earn what you want to earn, whatever your merit and your ability is. But here's the kicker, people. He then turned around and said, we're going to give £2,000 from the tariff income that we've received so far. We're going to give $2,000 to every working person as a dividend. You're part of this country, right? That's what we're going to get. We're going to give it to you as a bonus for working. They're not giving it to the indolent, right? They're not giving it to all these people who are just on food stamps. They're giving it to the normal working, the geezer flipping burgers, the geezer who's driving a truck, right? They're putting a limit on it. I don't know what the limit is, but let's say, for an example, it's $80,000 a year. If you earn more than that, then we're not giving you the $2,000. But because you are within your own merit, you can start investing your money. You'll have 501(c)s or whatever. You know what you're doing with your money, right? But he then turns around and says, I'm going to give you 2,000 every American, not the illegals. Yeah, no, he's not. He's giving it to all of the American workers. It's really crucial to understand that. So what he's doing is he's making America into America Inc., right? And he's saying, listen, I work for an American company, Level 3 Communications. We were called employee owners. It was the best structured company until they fucked it up by bringing all these idiots in from British Telecom, right? Which I do hope that Elon Musk puts British Telecom out of business, right? Don't forget what my role was there. I was a data center expert, right? I was one of the chief sales engineers. I was highly respected as a sales engineer, as an engineer in a tier 1 telecommunications company, right, a global company. We built an international telecommunications data network in 18 months. And then went to the next phase, right, which was the operational phase. I survived 7 rounds of redundancies, right? And let me tell you something. I used to work 18 hours, seven days a week. Right? There was a particular time we bought my house. I've lived in my house, one of my houses, for about, I think, 4 years, 5 years. And I'd never sat in the back garden and had a glass of wine. I'd never sat in the back garden. Right? So all I'm trying to say to you is, there is a big difference between Rupert Lowe having a scream up about all these people on universal credit. And then he went into the people and he started having a pop about mental illness, right? I ain't having that bollocks, right? I am fucking not having that bollocks. Just because you've never fucking flipped. And I'm telling you, 1 in 3 people will flip, or it might be 1 in 4 will fucking flip, proper flip. And the more intelligent they are, and the more understanding that they are being attacked from all sides and don't know where the fuck it's coming from, right? They are more likely to flip, right? Because they're thinking, what the fuck is going on, right? I've seen that. It's fucking happened to me. And I've also seen the power of mental illness to destroy someone, right? That it angers me. Because, and let me tell you something, there's all these different fucking people out there. Oh, look, look at what fucking Trump, he's gone over to WEF. I don't know what these people were fucking watching, but I found it one of the most fascinating speeches I've ever fucking seen. I was sitting there thinking, do you know something? I am actually watching history in here where they tear the fucking arse out of these globalists. That's exactly what Trump just did. And let me tell you something now. One group of people that did not go on the peace, the board of peace. Guess who was missing? I'd say pretty crucial. The British. Absolutely refused to have anything to do with it. And what did President Putin do? He said, Mr. Trump, we will assist with the board of peace. This is Russia. We will give you $1 billion for the Palestinian people to help with the reconstruction of Palestine. So it sounds to me that Trump and many others have got what they wanted, not what Israel wanted. They've got a two-state system, Palestine and Israel. But there's enough big players in the world that have come together to say to Israel, stop what you're doing. We're not tolerating this anymore. And what he's done, because he said the bureaucracy, the United Nations could have been a great function. It could have been fantastic, but it wasn't. It got embroiled with bullshit and bureaucracy and never could do what it set out to achieve. I've always said to everyone, and I mean this and I still mean it now, if you put 70,000 economists into a stadium and said, we want you to solve the problem of the economy, they couldn't do it. Right? You'd have a fucking disaster. Go and get 5 bricklayers, or a spark, a bricklayer, a tiler, a roofer, right? Proper geezers that solve problems all their lives, right? Self-made men and businessmen say, right, we're going to put you 5 in a room, solve this problem, and I'll guarantee they'll do it, right? They will come up with ways of solving that problem because they'll think about it in a different way. They won't keep trying to solve going back over and over and over and doing the same thing and expecting a different result. They'll say, that didn't work, so we've got to do this. That didn't work, so we've got to do this. This is why we do this. In building, we have this as a framework, right? Why do buildings stay up? Mainly because they're steel frames, tower blocks, right? It's what basically made us build, and it come from England. It made us build higher and higher and higher because we realised that steel frames, once they had been put together properly in a symmetric way, wouldn't fall over. It was like common sense, really. That's why tie blocks went like that. Do you all sort of understand what I'm trying to get at? So all these people are having a pop, and then Trump goes, and I'm seeing these people. I honestly do believe that there is something called Trump derangement syndrome, right? And I've said again and again and again and again, there's lots of things that Trump has done. There's a couple of things, and I've said it, that I do not like, right? But in a strategy, you've got A, B, C, D, E, F. To get from A to F, right? And especially in a war, we're in a war. We're in a war with these people, right? To get to F, B and C, you may not like. But as we get to D and E, to get to F, all of a sudden you start to see. It's a bit like watching someone, I don't know, go into a room that's dilapidated and the walls are falling apart, and every day you go in here and you don't really see any difference. But every single day there's a plan that tradesperson has put together to, right, take the walls back, do this, plaster that wall, do this, bang, 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 put a first coat on, put a second coat on, paint it, take all the bits out, paint it again, take all the bits out, then you go and do this. Then if you really want it to look good, you go and get a painter and decorator and say, listen, I want you to finish it. And they come in with their skill set and finish it. And you can have all that done in a week, right? And then you walk back through the door and you go, wow, right? The problem is you're watching some of these stages, so you think nothing's happening. There's so much to this that I really want people to understand what's going on there. I like Russia. Putin's been a leader of most adult life. I've never heard him make a threat. I've heard him make a threat, but to the oligarchs. And he killed 2 of them. So that's all. So what I'm trying to say is, let's get back to the original point. The difference between Trump and people like Rupert Lowe is Rupert Lowe is still playing the British game and blaming the working class. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, and I don't think I can do it on here at the moment. Let me see if I can bring it up. Yeah, I can, right? I'm going to bring this up because I think it's worthy of this. So again, I'm going to show you this on the screen, right? Now, I am going to drill down into this, not tonight, but I am going to do another show, drill down on this, and I'm going to start putting it out there that we are going to be specialists in 2 things. One is your constitutional rights, and the other is the National Health Service Constitution, otherwise known as, and I want you all to understand this, the Framework Agreement, right? And what I'm going to do is show you this, and then I'm going to go through some other stuff because there's so many important things that have happened, right? So this was in the Telegraph some time ago. I already covered this, I think 2, maybe 3 years ago. There's a video of me covering it. How we clawed back £100,000 in care fees and how you can too, right? So again, Irene Langley, a professional ballroom dancer, was dancing well into old age until 90 years old. She was diagnosed with dementia. Since she had no children of her own, the responsibility of arranging her care fell to her nephew Frank, who was forced to sell his aunt's home and use up every penny of her life savings in order to afford the eye-watering fees. Tragically, it was only after Irene passed away in 2017 at the age of 100 that Frank discovered half this money should never have been spent at all. This is because Irene qualified for the National Health Service continuing healthcare funding. Frank had applied for the funding, which few people knew about. On his aunt's behalf, however, his application was wrongly rejected. Here, Telegraph Money tells the story of how Frank's family appealed the decision and successfully clawed back, without going to court, right, £100,000 in care fees, right, and how you can too, right. So again, all I'm doing is, and then so this is a few years old, but residential permanent place in a residential care home is £1,156 a week. Respite care is more expensive, right, because it's more ad hoc. Residential and dementia, £1,318 a week. So they've put 150 quid on that because it's worse than just normal. Nursing, so if you need nursing, 1,457. Nursing and dementia, 1,510. Right, that's how much it costs a week. Nearly 80% of people assessed for National Health Service (CHC) continuous care are not deemed eligible for funding according to the latest data from the National Health Service England. However, since 2012, over 2,000 families have successfully had their care fees refunded after appealing the decision, according to a new data obtained by the law firm Hugh James in a Freedom of Information request. The rules around National Health Service CHC are extremely complicated, and critics say many health professionals do not understand the system well enough to carry out an accurate CHC assessment. That's where people like me come in, right? And we can set this up as part of the English Constitution Society, right? Which I'm saying is we'll go out there and we'll get them refunds for people, and they have to pay us our fees, right? And this is all going to be, I'm going to do this as part of when we go and do our major event in June on the 6th or 7th of June at the June Complex. I will be talking about this and showing you the law, right? So if anyone's out there that have got people in care that they lost their house and they took their mum and dad's house 5 years ago or whatever it was, I will show you how to get a complete refund of that money if they haven't followed the procedure, right? Because what they're actually doing is defrauding people. Now I'm going to go on to the next one, which is this one. How we clawed back. Hopefully I've got the right one. Langley, professional ballroom darts. Yeah, there's another one. Where's it gone? There is another one. I might have missed that one. Let me see if I can go and find it. Let me see if I can find it. It's in here somewhere. I hate it when I do this. RM is eligible. Let's see if I can find it in this one. No, it's probably in the last one I did. Let me go and have a quick look at something. Let's see if I can find this. I'm sure I sent it over to Tracy, or I put it in this one. Let's see. Is everyone seeing me all right, by the way? I haven't gone off screen. It says, what would you think if Putin was asked to join NATO by Trump? I don't know if that would happen. It's possible. I think it's the British that are undoubtedly the problem. And I think everyone knows that as well. I'm trying to have a look and see if I can find. Let me have a look at that one. Telegraph. That might be the one. Right, Tracy's just sent it to me. There it is. Right, and then there was another one that I looked at. Hopefully, I'm gonna. Let me just go back to this one again and see if I can feel it. There's actually a story on here as well. I mean, one family got over £400,000 back plus interest, and quite simply, and it never went to court, right? And the reason it never went to court is because there's already been, which I've started going through and reading through, there's already been 4 High Court rulings on it that have confirmed a particular point or 2 particular points, and there is a test, right? And there is a procedure, and if they don't follow the procedure, it's unlawful because it's part of the framework or the constitution, and they have to abide by that constitution, right? This is why I believe it ties into what we're doing, and it also means we can probably help quite a few people, right? So again, the law firm, which takes no win, no fee basis, have recovered over 200. This is just one law firm, has recovered over 200 million for thousands of clients over 15 years, and offers a free initial assessment, right? And again, there's a number of other things I could. There's a whole list of this stuff. So let me stop sharing that a second. and go back to my normal screen. Now, why have I brought that up in this particular instance and talking about Trump and talking about because invariably it's been the working class people, the elderly people that have grafted all their life, their assets, right, has been taken off them by state functions, meaning the National Health Service, meaning local authority, right? And in many cases, they're doing that unlawfully. I mean, many cases, thousands of cases, right? Rupert Lowe's never mentioned, though. What Rupert Lowe talked, and this is what really gets me, it's always us that are getting stabbed in the back by these people when they're the people that have had the levers of power, not us, right? And then when we go out and graft, imagine my mate who went and grafted all that time, right? He's got well in excess of £2-3 million worth of cash assets. He's got loads of money coming in. I know he's got well in excess of a million, maybe 2 million in the bank, right? He's a lovely fella, right? He's just like me and you, right? You would never guess it. And occasionally he goes out and buys a Porsche and drives it around for a week and then sells it because he's bored with it and goes back to his old banger, right? He just does it because he can, right? But my whole point to you is, right? Let's say all of a sudden he got dementia. Let's say he got an illness, right? There is a test that they do, and the test is this: if you just need social care, right, then it's means tested to I think it's 23 grand. It might have gone up or slightly down. I don't know what the figures are currently, right? But social care is different to medical care and treatment. If you need medical care and treatment, it is for that, and you have to go into a hospital, a hospice. If you have to go into a care home, because it is the only way that you can be treated in that way, it is for the National Health Service to pay for it as if it is a hospital, right? It's not your problem. You paid in national insurance, right? And that was an insurance to cover this. And for them to be deliberately swindling you because you're old, you don't understand what's going on, and for them to steal your assets from your family, right, and from you personally, I just think people like Rupert Lowe, you may have many people in your family that you put through private education, that as you got older, right, and if you went and God forbid this ever happens, and I'm definitely not saying he's got dementia, he 100% definitely has not. And my name is not Richard Tice, right? But what I'm saying is he must understand that he's got people who can look after his interests. Even if they're not solicitors and lawyers, they're clued up, right? Well, most working normal people who've just gone out and grafted for their house all their life, they ain't clued up. Right? They don't know all these things. So we have to try and protect them people. That's why I am a constitutionalist. And I think this aligns. I think it aligns. I'll have a discussion about it. I would rather make a difference out there to lots of people and get this so we are the best of the best, right? And then people say, go and see English Constitution Society, Graham Moore and his team, and they'll go crack, right? And you get paid. So you get your fee. So it's a no-win, no fee. So that means that you only take on cases you know you're going to win, right? Then you put all the work in. Then you say, right, that's our fee so far. This is how much you have taken off of these people. You need to refund it. If they know if it goes to court, they're bang in trouble, right? I've read the cases already out there, right? There's 4 major cases, right? And then when you read the cases and you think, you know, something, that is a fucking business model, right? Because you're actually providing a service to people that are being shit on by the state, where you haven't got to go to court, but you can go bing, 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 bing. But what I'm saying to people like Rupert Lowe, I get that Rupert Lowe, it's fantastic. We donated to it, right? The rape gang inquiry, which you started off the conversation about, right? But if you sit there and start slagging off working people, because most of the people I know in my life are fucking grafters, right? And the people who have been robbing their money off of them have been people like you, Rupert, right? The banking system, the bureaucracy, the systems type people that you know the accountants that you adore and love, right? Who I can't fucking stand, right? Because they're glorified tax collectors. That's all they are, unless you get a good one. Right, indeed. Does everyone understand what I just said then? Because I'm now going to go back to something else, which I think is really important. Evening, Middlesex man, how you doing? So I ain't seen you about for a sec. Where you been hiding? That wink, well said. Middlesex man heard I went on a fucking rant last night, and the house nearly caught fire. Matt Chapman, all right, I'm going to vote for Lee Evans. He will sort out freaking mess. Who's Lee Evans? Is the pink? Oh, Lee Evans, the comedian. Is the Pink Panther online tonight? I don't know. Julian, England, Shizzles, Maria, Mechanic, Paul. But people have got to see what's going on. Now, there's some big things happening in the US at the moment. Let me go back and have a look at this. Let's have a look. What am I still being sent? Graham, on Title 69. Does the Constitution say anything about travel? Yeah, it does. When you say travel, what do you mean? Do you mean that you can travel? So, by the way, one book I've got here, which is Sir William Wade, actually confirmed that you don't need a passport to leave England or leave the United Kingdom. And he said that, but it was never taken up in court. We've took it up in court now. The problem is you've now got judges that have been put in place that are not real judges. My dialysis 3 times a week includes transport to and from the hospital. Yeah. Let me have a quick look. There's a lot of things that people need to understand. Now, before I do anything else, I want to take you to this. So we're going to go on to a slightly new subject, but you can all tell me what you think about us taking on some of them cases as the English Constitution Society, and then also because we can tell people about the Constitution and explain to them in basic terms what a framework agreement is, right? And we have got a framework agreement in England, a very strong one, I may add. Let me try and show people this. Hopefully it's going to come up on your screen. Touchwood, you're seeing this. Now, this is Truth Social, and this is Donald Trump, right? So heading back to DC, it was an incredible time in Davos. The Greenland structure is being worked on and will be amazing for the USA. And the Board of Peace is something that the world has never seen before. I've got to be honest with you. When I see that put together and understood what he was doing, or think I understand what he's doing, I realised I was watching history in the making, right? With all of them people signing that, right? Very special. So many good things happening. President Donald J. Trump, right? Now, one of the things about Greenland, what's happened now is Greenland, the head of NATO, has turned around to Trump and said, listen, what we'll do is we'll have a deal. It will be your sovereign areas. Everyone remember what I said about enclaves, right? So if you imagine the United States of America has an enclave at Runnymede, which is the JFK Memorial, 3 acres, which was given to the American people by the Crown, meaning Her Majesty the Queen, and Parliament, and a document was made up that made sure it was absolutely American soil. Right, it's covered by the American Constitution, and the transfer of that land is something called fee simple absolute. Right, there is no higher freehold than that. It means it's yours, right? Once it's come, the only thing higher than that is deed of battle, right? Which is why if the United States, and I don't even think, I wish he did. I mean, I have put a tweet out to him, but he's obviously never going to see it. But then people must know about fee simple absolute, right? Because if they did understand fee simple absolute, they would know that there's only one type of freehold above that, and that's deed of battle, right? In other words, war. So if someone come along and said, "We understand this is yours, but we're going to fight you for it," right? And if we win, we take it, right? That's the law of the jungle, by the way. But the next layer down is fee simple absolute. And by the way, you own the minerals underneath it and the skies above it. They must know about that, surely. Again, I have actually put out a message, but I doubt if it's ever going to be seen by these people. But I just wanted to make sure you all understood. Because there's a numerous things that they're saying that they want to do with that. Did everyone see that on the screen, by the way? Let me see if I can stop sharing and go back to my other screen, because I'm going to go back to this one. Let's see what I'm doing on that one. Anything else coming in? Travel in or on private property. He says travel in or private. I don't understand what the answer was. What's being said. Do you have a right to travel? Of course you do, but you do not have a right to travel over private property. You don't have a right to travel over somebody else's land. That's called trespass. Can you put a sign up on your property? In America, it's called being posted, and says, private property, do not trespass. I will shoot, right? Or I will shoot you. Trespassers will be shot. And I've seen them out there in America, right? And I went up to the thing, and it was Caustic Chameleon that said to me, because I went to step on this bit of land, she said, "Don't step on there. If he's got a rifle and you're on his land, he's going to shoot you. And there's nothing you can do about it." I was like, "Oh, okay. I won't step on his land then." You tend to be a bit more respectful. And again, police officers often in America will pull up at the gate of a property, get out a land, stand at the gate of the property and put out a loudhailer and tell the person inside, if they know that they're a bit, "You're not allowed on my property unless," if they just want to speak to them, they're not doing it, they just shout out, "Hello, can we come and talk to you?" And then someone will come out and say, "What do you want?" And if they don't want to talk to the cop and there ain't a warrant, they'll say, "F off." Right? That's it. But that's the way it is in America. I think it's a great system. Let me have a quick look. So there's a few things I want to show. The other thing I wanted to show you tonight as well, again, so we'll go back to, I've seen those signs in England too. Yeah. But you have got other things. You've got rights of way, which have been ancient rights of way, and they have to be given priority. And if you buy a bit of land and it's got a right of way over it, because of the covenant of the custom, you can't go across it. You can go across it, but no one's allowed to stop you. Bridle paths is one of them. There's a lot of bridle paths that have got right of ways. YouTube is fine. Let me have it. No buffering. Is it buffering? It shouldn't be buffering. Let me have a look. Yeah, it was interesting. What was interesting? DD is a true trespass is a civil matter. DD is it true that trespass is a civil matter? Yes and no is the answer. Aggravated trespass is in effect burglary. So there's 9 out of 10 times there's a crossover between civil and criminals. But so let me put it this way: if someone burgled your house and they were successfully prosecuted for burglary, right? This is one thing that people don't get, right? If they were successfully prosecuted for burglary, you could civilly sue them, right, for compensation. Rape is another one, because that is what they actually do. Hi Graham, saw you on Chris Thrall's channel. Interesting listen. Rick Shaw, thank you. No buffering, all good. Right to roam. Yeah, right to roam is another one. You've got so there's a lot of places. I can't remember all the places, but some places haven't got right to roam. It depends who's got it. And common land was taken off us. Let me think. By the Enclosures Act, and it was, his name is on the tip of my tongue, that pointed me in the direction of quite a bit of that. And again, tonight I had a conversation with someone all about the Bill of Rights, and they didn't know that there was a Chapter 2 and a Chapter 3. Like when I say Chapter 2, I mean a real Chapter 2, not top and tailed, and a Chapter 3, and that the Chapter 3 protected the Magna Carta and protected lots of others of our rights. But people don't know that because they're being misinstructed and conned by the British. And that's something somehow we have to change that. Our politicians are raping our wallets and freedoms. You know, they are indeed. What was I going to do? I've lost track. Oh, I know. I was going to go back to here. So there's a lot of things that are going on here. The hearings of the rape crimes start on February the 2nd. A lot more work to do, but thank you. Yeah, there is a lot of work to do on that. So just to make sure everyone's understanding this, now there's a couple of little bits that I wanted to show you in particular. And I'm seeing, besides Putin, the most hated person in the world has arrived in Davos. Really? I says you simply don't get out enough. He sounds old and tired, a little slower. Let me tell you something now. Don't forget he's 78, right? He has been going non-stop all the way through this. So they've just left the world. This is the bit that gets me, right? They've just left, in effect, WEF, right? He started up the Board of Peace. He's left the World Health Organization, right? He's completely left it. And they owe them, America owes the World Health Organization 270 million. And Trump basically said, go and swivel on it. I just find that hilarious. Let me make sure that I am sharing this with you. Let me bring it up because there's so much I want to go through here. There it goes. Right. So June is having a bit of a bad hair day. I don't know what that means. There's a particular thing that I wanted to look at. Oh, there's my bookshelf. I used that tonight as a thing. Did anyone think that was a bit strange? Or did you think it was on and I went on? Let me have a look. Just now, between the US Capitol Police Officer Michael Fannon, right-wing pastor, defender of American. This is during a break in a Jackson. Oh yeah, this hearing was fantastic.
All have them. Why are you so spasmodic? Absolutely. Look behind you.
Excuse me.
Why should I?
Excuse me. No, not this guy. Not this guy. Not this guy. Not this guy. Oh, forgive me.
See how many people are controlling? Look at me.
No
Total control over my mind and body. Total control over your mind and body.
Sir, you have no shame. No shame. You have no shame. Treating these people that way.
This guy is threatening my family,
Unbelievable.
threatening my children, threatening to rape my children, or rape my children, you sick bastard. Rape my children. Don't touch me. Do not look.
Oh, he's a communist. The geezer with all the tattoos who was going over there is a communist. That's why he's saying you rape my children and all that. Disgusting. Right? Heated exchange just now between the US Capitol Police Officer Michael Fallon and right-wing provocateur defender of January 6 rioters Ivan Raiklin, who I've got to tell you something. Can you see how, by the way, he's ex-military, how controlled he was, right? Controlled, like the other geezer, anger was boiling over. You can see his mates coming in trying to pull him off, and how controlled, right? I'm sure he was something to do with special forces, and that's when he was saying to him, "I've got control of my emotions. What's your problem?" Right? And controlling your emotion is and being in control. Never. And I've got to tell you something. That's one of the skills of boxing. Tucker Carlson. Oh, so George Soros controls the media in Maine. Guess he funds it, right? Let me have a look. This is it. Epic work by. Oh, right. So anyway, I'm not going to say anything. But there's a couple of things I wanted to show you here tonight, right? There's lots of things. Listen, everyone should have already watched the different parts and the different things that Trump said last night. Anyone who thinks there isn't something major going on, I think you should think again. And it does look like whether Israel likes it or not, there's a two-state system, which is what Trump always wanted, right? And it appears that's what all these other people wanted. Now, the only people who are not involved in them discussions is the British. But his own records case against him. I'm trying to find where this thing was, because the damning documents they say introduced and confirmed Janet conviction in Thompson, transcripts, interview documents, Meadow text, masterclass in question, short, easy to understand and cutting. There is a fantastic point here. I've got to try and get to this. No, I'm told that the judge has refused to sign the criminal complaint against Don Lemon in Magistrate Judge Douglas Micko. You see what I mean? They've got so many crooked judges in, which is what happens. You can't get anything pushed through the law. That's where the Insurrection Act comes in, and that's where the military have to take over to make sure that justice is done. They've just deployed, as far as I'm aware, or put on notice, 2,000 National Guard police officers, National Guard military policemen, right? And that means you'll also get the layers above that, which is the judiciary element. Not only does it appear his body language and the answer, Jack Smith is line of requirement, the officer of the court. Right, problem has missed. Oh, right, this is the one I wanted to show you, right? I'm not sure if you're going to understand this, but I'm going to tell you, right? Smith had already brought 3 criminal indictments against the president before September the 23rd, a superseding indictment in Doc's case, and signed his name as special counsel, right? Now, what I'm going to do...
It strikes me as odd.
I want you to...
Mr. Smith on November 18th, 2020.
Right, let me... do you all understand how crucial oaths are to our system. So our system is bound by oath, right? The English system is bound by oath and an oath to God, which is to Jesus Christ and God, right? And so is the American system, right? They've got the same system as us in terms of that. You can't sit as a judge unless you have taken your oath. One of the things that annoys me about Free Man and Land is they say, read me your oath. The judge doesn't have to do that. They wouldn't be a judge unless they've took their oath. But maybe someone should have questioned this before, but I'm going to play it. Listen to it.
AG Garland appointed you as special counsel. Can you tell me about your swearing in or the oath of office that you took after that?
I don't recall the specifics of it. I know I was sworn in. I don't recall the specifics of how that was done.
You don't remember who swore you in?
I don't.
Would you agree that taking the oath of office is a legal requirement for the job that you had?
I've taken oaths of office regularly. I haven't researched whether it's required or not, but I've done that, I think, in every government case.
Well, it is required. Terms I heard earlier today were atypical, irregular, no proper procedure. Yet in your opening statement, you said that we followed Justice Department policies, and I would assume you meant the law as well. It strikes me as odd that you don't remember who swore you in, how you were sworn in. It's pretty significant. We all get sworn in here, and I remember every day. You don't remember who swore you in.
I don't remember the details of it as I sit here today.
But you did take the oath of office before you got rolling.
I think my recollection is it was when I was appointed.
It was when. It strikes me as odd that Attorney General Garland had you retake the oath of office on the 14th of September of the following year. Why did he make you do that?
As I sit here right now, I do not recall. I know that there is the oath of office that I signed. I believe it was on the 18th, the day that I was appointed. And I know the department had me do a second one. I don't know the particulars of why they asked me to do it again, but I know
you signed it on the 20th of November 22nd, November 2022, but there was no witness, which, I mean, you have to agree it's a little odd. If there's no witness saying that you took the oath of office, it would maybe make someone like me question whether or not you were legitimately doing the job until you finally took the oath of office. It sounds like the Attorney General had the same question and thought, oh shit, we got to have him sign this on the 14th day of September of the following year. So why did you take the oath of office again on the 14th of September of the following year when you say you took the office in November of 2022? Why'd you need to do it twice?
My recollection is that I took the oath of office, as you said, it was the 18th or the 20th, and felt I was under the oath of office. I believe, if you have it in front of you, I think I signed an oath.
You signed it, but there was no witness. There was supposed to be either notarized or a witness. And apparently Attorney General Garland thought it was significant enough to have you do another oath 11 months later. That's strange, right?
I don't know why they asked me to sign it again. I don't recall ever discussing this issue with Attorney General Garland.
Well, that is just wild to me. I'd like to yield the balance of my time to Mr. Jordan.
Well, which one was the official one? Which one counted? I think that's what the gentleman's asking.
I understood myself to have taken the oath of office when I assumed the job.
How much money did you? Okay.
What? Right? Did you tell me what you all think of that? Right? Right. He's one of the guys that impeached President Trump and put indictments down 3 times. And I'm just making sure you understand this. He had no authority to do so, in effect, right? And the other side has found out. They've looked at the paperwork and said he hasn't even taken oath. I'm seeing some of the comments in here. Right. But I think I've got to play this again. Do you mind me playing this again? Because as someone, you're all experienced of life, right? You know when someone, you caught someone out lying, don't you? And they're thinking, what the fuck, right? Squirming, whatever you want to do. I've got to play it again, right? I'm just going to show it to you again, right? And then I'm going to put it full on screen. We're going to go back to the beginning.
Mr. Smith, on November 18th, 2022, AG Garland appointed you as special counsel. Can you tell me about your swearing in or the oath of office that you took after that?
I don't recall the specifics of it.
I don't recall. Because you're now relying on memory, right? So that's I don't recall exactly, right? It gets you out because you don't want to get done for perjury.
I know I was sworn in. I don't recall the specifics of how that was done.
You don't remember who swore you in?
I don't.
Would you agree that taking the oath of office is a legal requirement for the job that you had?
I've taken oaths of office regularly. I haven't researched whether it's required or not, but I've.
What the fuck? I haven't researched whether it's required or not. Everyone out there knows. Look at the woman's face there to the left. Can you see her face? She's like, what?
Done that, I think, in every government case.
It is required. Terms I heard earlier today were atypical, irregular, no proper procedure. Yet in your opening statement, you said that we followed Justice Department policies, and I would assume you meant the law as well. It strikes me as odd that you don't remember who swore you in, how you were sworn in. It's pretty significant. We all get sworn in here, and I remember every day. You don't remember who swore you in.
I don't remember the details of it as I sit here today.
But you did take the oath of office before you got rolling.
I think my recollection is it was when I was appointed.
It was when. It strikes me as odd that Attorney General Garland had you retake the oath of office on the.
You can see him fidgeting now. You can see him breathing through his mouth. Now he's struggling and he's thinking, right? He knows he's in trouble and he knows they know. And now he now can be fired. He can be prosecuted. Everything that happened to Trump can all go back and bite him on the arse and AG Garland.
14th of September of the following year. Why did he make you do that?
As I sit here right now, I do not recall. I know that there is the oath of office that I signed. I believe it was on the 18th, the day that I was appointed. And I know the department had me do a second one. I don't know the particulars of why they asked me to do it again, but I know
you signed it on the 20th of November 22nd, November 2022, but there was no witness, which, I mean, you have to agree, it's a little odd. If there's no witness saying that you took the oath of office, it would maybe make someone like me question whether or not you were legitimately doing the job until you finally took the oath of office. It sounds like the Attorney General had the same question and thought, oh shit, we got to have him sign this on
this guy's has got away with words.
The 14th day of September of the following year. So why did you take the oath of office again on the 14th of September of the following year when you say you took the office in November of 2022? Why'd you need to do it twice?
My recollection is that I took the oath of office, as you said, it was the 18th or the 20th, and felt I was under the oath of office.
I felt I was under the oath of office. Now he's getting into his intent was always that he should have been sworn in, but legally he wasn't, right? I felt, right? This is someone I would describe as low IQ.
I believe, if you have it in front of you, I think I signed an oth.
You signed it, but there was no witness. There was supposed to.
Which is why witnessing documents is so important, right? Because they would turn around and say, did you witness that document? They'll go back to the witness and say, did you see him sign that document, right?
Be either notarized or a witness. And
A notarized means a solicitor or lawyer in capacity, attorney general, someone appointed by the attorney general as a notary would write on that piece of paper, I so and so and so have witnessed on this day, Mr. So and so and so so Jack Smith has taken the oath of office and blah blah.
apparently, Attorney General Garland thought it was significant enough to have you do another oath 11 months later. That's strange, right?
Yeah, because you only take the one oath, right? Judges only take the one oath. If they're a judge for 40 years, they only take the single oath when they start, right? You can never rescind an oath once you've taken it.
I don't know why they asked me to sign it again. I don't recall ever discussing this issue with Attorney General Garland.
Well, that is just...
He's trying to dig his mate out of trouble now. Anyway, going back to the audience, because I thought that was fantastic. There's another piece here, a question in chat. Everything the public committee should have yielded in this time as this guy, right? I'm going to show another. This woman on the left behind him looks like she's in agony. Well, let me go back to that. Let me stop that now. Look at my screen. All right. Can you hear what's going on? I apologise if you ain't been watching this. Did you watch the other one? Did you see the other one? All right. Let me go back onto this. Like, there's more to this, right? There's another one where I've got to find it for you, because let me just make sure I'm clear on this, right? And I want everyone to understand what I'm saying. The man on the right should never, ever, ever have been allowed to practice law, right? And we have got people like him in our judiciary as barristers, as silks, as solicitors all over this country, with the mindset of that man on the right hand side. Now I'm going to show you something else because I think it's important. Hopefully no, No sound or video. No sound or video. It's like it's not sharing. Can you see it now? I've just took it off again. Hang on a minute. Let me see. Can you now see me? Not working, DD. Right. So let me go and see if I can find something else, and then I'll try and share it. Right. Only see in our elections. There are so many things going on at the moment, but there is a particular thing I want to show you. And I'm hoping to get this. Oh, God, blimey. Some massive, great big fat geezer's done a bungee jump and the fucking bungee snapped. Oh, dead. As Speaker of the House, I had a 24/7 detail monitor of government at all times flight risk. It's disgusting. So what they did, just to make sure you're all aware, is the Speaker of the House, they put him under armed guard to make sure. The Jack Smith cost taxpayer over 35 million, all based on a scam targeting Emmys with 65%. Right, let me see if I can go and find this. And by the way, there's more things going on at the moment. I need to show you. Lucy Letby's heating up as well. The Telegraph has come out on her side and said that this should never have happened, and it needs to be referred to the Court of Appeal that they believe that she is innocent. So the Telegraph started it. It's certainly a good thing. Let me see if I can find this point. I can't find it. The golden question was asked once. Jack Smith to expose himself to Merrick Garland. Good, it's a strikes odd that you don't remember who swore you in. Yeah, I've got to find this fucker. It was literally the fella literally said, I can't listen to this anymore. He said, I am disgusted by what you just said. So basically, the same fella you've just seen, Jack Smith, lied to the judges and about a particular warrant, and didn't tell the warrant who they was over. What the fuck is that? Let me have a look. Let me have a look. Let's see if I can find this for you. It's not there yet. It's not there yet. All right, I'm looking on to see if I can find it. What always happens is when I go on to something else, I will see it. Let me go and see if I can find it in my notifications before I do anything else. Otherwise, it gets a bit boring. USA, I can't find it. But I have put a couple of things out today. Hopefully, people will retweet this. Let me put this in the chat for everyone. Have a retweet of this. Can you see me, by the way? Here we go. There it is. Have a great weekend, Patriots. Bedtime's late. Oh, what's the... It's Thursday, isn't it? Friday tomorrow. Tracy, you got my sound back last night and my headphones turned off. All right. Militia 1680 Patriots to make sure what they do. Right. Don't forget, hit the like button. Don't forget, sharing is caring. The only people getting it out. And let me tell you something, people. Please subscribe, because the more we've got to try and get this over 10,000 subscribers on this channel, and then it goes into a different paradigm. So I've been told, but I can't find that other thing. But what I am going to do, again, so it's in the Telegraph, US to control parts of Greenland under Trump deal. So he's not buying the whole of Greenland, but what they're going to do is give him a big areas where and like he's got mineral rights, which is why I've tried to get it out to them. You want to go for fee simple absolute. and it becomes an enclave. Right? It's actually run under the American Constitution. Let me go and have a look and see where this other one was. There was another one in here somewhere. Not that one. Not that one. I might have shut it down earlier. Let's go and see if there's anything else come out from President Trump. So how it started. Right, I'm going to show you. So I'm gobsmacked at some of the things that I'm actually seeing at the moment out there. But you're better off seeing it straight on Truth Social. So based on his testimony today, there is no question that deranged Jack Smith should be prosecuted for his actions. He destroyed the lives of many innocent people, which has been his history as a prosecutor. At a minimum, he has committed large-scale perjury. He knows he's in trouble, by the way, a lot of trouble, and they just do it. They were just doing what they wanted to do, which was terrible. Today, I'm announcing the United States' intention to bid for the World Expo. Heading back to DC, it was an incredible time in Davos. Deranged Jack Smith. The fake and fraudulent polling should be virtually a criminal offence. As an example, all of the anti-Trump media that covered me during 2020 election showed polls that were knowingly wrong. They knew what they were doing, trying to influence the election, but I won in a landslide, including winning the popular vote, all 7 of the 7 swing states. The Electoral College was a route, a route. Let me have a look. They say route, I say route. Fraudulent. Electoral College was a route, and 2,750 counties to 525. You can't do much better than that. And yet, if people examine the failing New York Times, ABC fake news, NBC, CBS, low-rating CNN, and now the defunct MSDNC, polls were all fraudulent and brought nothing even close to the final results, right? And the polling is really important because we're being lied to again about reform. I can tell you that now. Something has to be done about fraudulent polling. Even the polls of Fox News and the Wall Street Journal have been, over the years, terrible. There are great posters that called the election right, but the media does not want to use them in any way, shape or form. Isn't it sad what has happened to American journalism? But I am going to do everything possible to keep this polling scam from moving forward, right? Exactly for this, cry all you want. He's doing exactly what we voted for. Indict Jack Smith. Can you all see this coming up on your screen? Prosecutorial misconduct. They investigated Trump for 10 years and got nothing. If we truly investigated 95% of Washington, D.C. for 10 days, they would all be in prison. Trump didn't create political corruption, he revealed it. He didn't create media bias, he revealed it. Trump didn't create urban decay of Democrat-run cities, he revealed it. He didn't create censorship of faith, he revealed it, right? And again, there's lots of information up there. Let me go back and see if I can find anything else from Donald Trump, because it is important. There's lots of things that are coming out now, so I'm not sure what that one is that he's just sent out.
My God, we just got a report from the Fed Atlanta bank that says we grew at 5.3% in the fourth quarter. This is an absolutely booming economy right now. My God, we just got a report from the Fed Atlanta.
Let me have a look. Donald J. Trump. Boom, President Trump's just slashed the US trade deficit in half, down to an unreal $29 billion, the smallest in nearly 2 decades. CNBC anchors are in total shock. That's because this guy knows what he's doing. And a lot of this is to do with... now,
I'm not popular with you now because I'm defending Donald Trump, but I really believe we can be happy that he is there because he has forced us in Europe to step up, to face the consequences, that we have to take care more of our own defense. And here's my question to the audience. I mean, many of you, I know, criticize Donald Trump. But do you really think that without Donald Trump, 8 big economies in Europe, including Spain and Italy and Belgium, Canada, by the way, also outside Europe, would have come to 2% in 2025 when they were only on 1.5% at the beginning of the year? No way. Without Donald Trump, this would never have happened. They're all on 2% now. Do you really think that in the summit in The Hague, as already Alex was saying, the president of Finland was saying, that we would come to an overall defense spending of 5%, including 3.5% in core defense, if President Trump would not have been re-elected as president of the United States? No way. It would never have happened. So again, I'm not popular with you now because I'm defending Donald Trump, but I really believe we can be happy that he is there because he has forced us in Europe to step up, to face the consequences, that we have to take care more of our own defense.
Right, there is a load more, but I won't go into it at the moment. Did you all see that? So again, I'm grateful for everyone watching. Don't forget, sharing is caring. There is loads and loads of things that I could say today. I just want everyone to know what's going on in the background. But right at the arse plugger. He's not even a military person, is he? No one seems to see that the current Kate looks very much like the farmer's market actress who played her in the fake video. Just a coincidence? Oh, don't know. Why don't you do a course in the Constitution, Graham? Why don't you do a course in the Constitution? I am. I'm writing a book, and then we'll be doing a constitutional course, a proper one. And again, I'll tell you what, before I go, I will show you this because I sent this earlier. I sent this earlier to someone. Let's see if I can bring it up. I've shown this a million times on the screen before. Let me just share this with you. Hopefully, I'll be able to get this right and it won't go pear-shaped. Right, so this is a book. This one here. This is an original. It's a very old book. It's from 1901. Select statutes and case documents to illustrate English constitutional history. And again, edited by C. Grant Robertson. It's a great book. People are not taught this anymore, right? If I showed you the book itself, I mean, when I say it's old, it's an old book, right? If you went and you should try and get that if you can, on Amazon as a reprint, right? And if there's anything missing on the pages, at least I can tell you what they are. But again, so what I'm going to do is just show you this, right? This is the English Bill of Rights. An act declaring the rights and liberties of the subjects and settling the succession of the crown, whereas the Lord Spiritual Temple Commons assembled. Now, this is as originally written. Why am I doing this? Because I am going to now take you to, and again, that's not me putting marks in the book, by the way. They're probably 50 years old, 100 years old, whatever. But here's a crucial part, which I keep telling people. This is the bit. Let me go into this bit. 2. And it be further declared and enacted by the authority aforesaid that from and after this present session of Parliament, no dispensation by non-obstante of or to any statute or any part thereof shall be allowed, but the same shall be held void and of no effect, except a dispensation to be allowed of in such statute, and except, so and means it's got to be, except in such cases as shall be specially provided for by one or more bill or bills to be passed during this present session of Parliament. In other words, it had to be in this present session of Parliament. it was, and that was the 22 days that they was debating and discussing this, right? And then, as you'll all see, they took that one. They took the top part, like literally from there to there out, and then they took the bottom last limb out, and they changed the meaning of the paragraph to try and say that they are sovereign, right? And they're not. So they basically lied to people. And again, I've shown this to someone today because they asked me where they could find it. And I said, you can, if you know how to search for it, you can get the original up. Normally it'll come from America. But statutes of document. So this is section 3 that was taken out in 1867. It was never allowed to be removed, right? Provided that no charter or grant or pardon granted before the 3 and 20th day of October in the year of our Lord 1889 shall be in any ways impeached or invalidated by this act, but that the same shall be and remain of the same force and effect in law, no other than if this act had never been made, right? What did that do, right? And then it tells you other books where it says that Hallam. So these books here, I don't know if you can see them, right? These books here is Hallam. These books here are Anson, right? So this book here, yeah, is there. Can you all see that? Is this book here is then referencing these books, which is Law and Custom of the Constitution, Anson. Then it it goes back to Hallam. So when people start talking about Dicey, right, A.V. Dicey, that's where he learnt his constitution from, Hallam, right? And some of these books are 100 years old. So when I teach the Constitution, I'm telling you the Glorious Revolution, what the actual settlement was for the people, for us, right? And again, it's telling you there, Anson LC, 32 grand, and it gives you exactly where it is. And for the military clauses, especially clothed military forces, there it is, right? So all I'm doing is telling you that, which is chapter 3, you see 1, 2, 3, you see 82 on the screen, and you've got 1, 2, 3. That whole chapter of the English Bill of Rights was illegally removed in 1867. And again, in 1947, just after the Second World War, really badly, chapter 2, the part at the bottom, was top and towed, which again was also ultra vires and illegal. And that's the bit they don't like us knowing. They certainly don't like it, because when we feed that into AI and the original Bill of Rights, AI says no, you can't take that out. It doesn't like you telling them the logic. Basically, that's it. I will say good night, God bless, and I will see you all tomorrow night. There's so much going on. Hopefully, most people have seen. There's no point in me repeating what President Trump said, although it was a fantastic speech. I was exceptionally impressed. In fact, I was sitting there thinking, I'm actually watching history here, because I believe the Board of Peace is different gravy. There is a strategy around that that is fantastic, and the fact that Putin's put in $1 billion to help with the reconstruction, the people they're bringing in for that is, as far as I can see, it's a 2-state system, and you know, I don't know what else I can say to that. Good night, DJ, and everyone. God bless you. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. Let me go and see if there's any questions before I jump off. That's it. Good night, tiddly poo, and I'll see you all later.